Well, good morning. How are you all today? Are you surprised not to see me sitting in my nice, warm office? We got some snow last night, as you can see, and it is beautiful. And I thought I'd take the opportunity to come down here. I meant to get down here earlier before the sun came up, but I got to watching an excellent video. I'll tell you about in a minute. Posted by one of our patrons over on the Patreon channel. And so I got down here now. As you can see, the sun's coming up right now. Beautiful down here. So I thought I'd come down here and talk to you a little bit, have some coffee, and because this is the perfect setting to talk about what I want to talk about, and that is winter's here, winter's coming. And this is the most dangerous time of the year as far as survival if you're not ready. If you are not prepared to provide for your own heat and security, this is the most dangerous time of the year. By the way, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I neglected to say that. If you're new to us, welcome. You'll find that this is a channel that we don't try to scare people. We do address this very serious threats in the world, but we talk about it from a positive standpoint. It's about what you should do, what you should think, what you should prepare for, and how to prepare for it. So yeah, here it's wintertime, and winter's coming. Why is this the most dangerous time? Well, everything's harder when it's cold. Everything's harder when it's wet. Everything's harder when it's raining. Everything's harder in the snow. Okay, it takes more effort. It takes more time. And I'm sorry if I'm sitting at kind of an angle here. I'm just sitting on a fallen tree, someplace to sit while I talk to you. And the ground here underneath you is not exactly even. So if an enemy were going to attack our grid, this would be the time to do it. Most people, as you know, aren't prepared. They don't have much food in their homes. The average person doesn't have more than a week or two of food. And as I always say, that's after they've sucked out the last ketchup packet that was stuck back in the back of the silverware drawer or the junk drawer, whatever. And there's no place to get it because the grid's down and no more food deliveries are coming. And in addition to that, it's simply it's a major threat of cold. Simple as that. Most people, now those who live in very small houses, it's easier for them, of course, but if you live in a larger house, it's tough to keep it warm. And the thing that I was watching today was a video put up, like I say, by Mike Hoskins, one of our highly esteemed patrons and contributors over on the Patreon channel. And it was a video about the construction of a rocket mass heater. And it was a well done, excellent. Now, those of you who have read my books, the Stonemont books, know that I went into detail on constructing when they constructed, and I'm sorry if I'm giving away something here for those of you who haven't made it through the second and third books, but when they're building the town, as they laid out the plats for the housing area, they built with cob, and I went into great detail on how cob is made, and you know the history of cob is fascinating. It goes back. They claim that there are buildings 10,000 years old made of cob. I won't swear to that. I don't know, but I know there are hundreds of years old made of cob. Huh. Well, you guys almost fell, didn't you? Good thing I have cat-like reflexes. Let me set that back up there. Okay. And they have weathered the storm. People aren't familiar with cob. A lot of people are familiar with adobe, but it's a little bit the same. And I go into detail. I explain exactly how cob is made and the history of cob and all that. And then I explain that each of the homes that are built there are heated with a rocket mass heater. It's something that anyone can do. And the video that Mike put up over in the member post, as a matter of fact, I put it on the main page of the Patreon channel after that, so everybody will be sure to see it. You know, if you're with us on the Patreon channel, you need to make sure that you're checking the member posts page every day. But just in case it would slide by anybody, I put it on the main page. You're going to be fascinated. The guy who makes it does an excellent job of showing and explaining exactly how he makes it. And what it is cob is, well, I won't go into detail with it, but it's an excellent, it becomes a thermal mass. Not only when you construct with cob is it an excellent insulator, keeping things cool in the summer and warmer in the winter. You're able to heat a cob structure with a lot less fuel than you would, like most of us. Now, many people here heat with wood stoves and things like that, but most people still heat with, forced air and our radiators or whatever. And cob is just an excellent way to go. But back to so watch. If you're not with us on Patreon, you should come join us. I invite you over there. It's only $1 a month, and it's the best dollar a month you'll spend, because there's so much more information over there. On the YouTube channel, we tend to talk in generalities, and on the Patreon channel, we tend to talk more specifics. Simple. I've explained why before. I won't get into that today. But this is the dangerous time. As we're coming into winter, everything's harder. And the question that I want to ask you, that you should ask yourself, are you ready? Are you ready to provide for the heat that you need in the wintertime? What if an enemy did, whether by EMP or cyber attack or whatever, what if they did take down our grid or even your section of the grid? There are going to be a lot of people dying, and I don't want it to be you. Have you thought about that? Do you have the food that you need? Do you have the materials that you would need to ensure that you can heat? Provide heat. It takes heat to stay alive. And even if you live in a big house, have you thought about what you should do? You can't heat that big house. You can't heat a 4,000 square foot house with a fireplace, right? For the most part. So think about that. Do you have the blankets, the sheeting, whatever to come together and to be able to heat one room? And maybe I'll get into more detail on the things that you should be thinking about. Maybe I'll do that on Patreon. There's a lot of things to think about when it comes to preparing a large house or even a medium-sized house for freeze without heat, without the grid. So it's beautiful out here, but beauty can kill, and cold is a killer. And if you're prepared, you're fine. If you're not prepared, a lot of people are going to experience winter death, death in the winter. Think about that and get ready. I hope things are going well for you. It's the weekend after Thanksgiving. We had a great Thanksgiving. I talked a little bit over on the Patreon channel about living a peaceful life. And I put that on Patreon because I know for the most part on YouTube, the audience here is different. And I get into more lifestyle issues and quality of life issues, to be honest, over on the Patreon channel. So, join us over there. I think you'll get a lot out of it, not just from me, but from all of our patrons. They have such a wide and deep knowledge base that they are more than happy to share with everyone, and it really is a tremendous resource. So the link is down below. The links to my books are down below. I forget if it's in the second or third book, and I talk about cob building and thermal mass and rocket rocket stove heating, rocket heater, and I explain exactly how to do it. You might want to look into it and watch that video. But most important, whether you do that or not, think about whether you're ready to survive winter without heat, without externally provided heat, without the grid. That's the important thing. Winter is the most dangerous time. There's a lot of death happens in winter for people who aren't prepared. Don't want it to be you. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and that means understanding, realizing that bad things can happen, and preparing for them. Okay? You all have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.